on a bun, cold dill pickle on the side. All their flavors can't be beat because it's made with all meat. Fries, 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 fries. You know where that came from? The Flintstones. I like the Flintstones. Did anybody ever remember that? Huh? Come on. Good to see you all out there. How you doing today? Again? Judy, get over here. Sue, come on. Don't leave me here alone. I'm feeling a little bit alone. We've got Sue here. Here's Sue. We got Sue back. How did we get Sue twice in one day?
Hey, we got lucky.
We do have lucky.
We have lucky too.
We do. Always after me, Lucky Charms. They're magically delicious. I did not watch a lot of TV. Trust me, I didn't. But anyway, we're going to have Sue take a seat, and we're going to have some fun talking to Sue. We could be here a while because, you know, Sue really likes to be long-winded. You know, she gets into really long stories. I think so. She said, I know Xing Shao. I think she does. You know, I got to tell you a little bit about Sue. She is a very interesting gal, and probably a little while back, I was talking to this IT guy of ours. He's our webmaster. And I'm talking to him, blabbing along and that, and, you know, the guy don't say much, and I'm out with Sue on our little adventure for the class that I took. What's that class called again?
Bear study.
Bear study. Thank you. You could have said it. The bear study course, and Sue takes you out and shows you all the signs that bears make and shows you their trails, which are a lot of really cool stuff. In fact, we got to talk about that trail. Would you be okay to talk about those stomping trails for a minute? But anyway, we're driving along, and I was talking about the web and our site, and she goes, well, you know, that's my son. And I said, really? Didn't I? And Eric was her son, and he does our web. No, yeah, right. He is her son. That's a sleep problem I've got right now. He still is. Come on, they got me on a word again. Here we go. I'm in trouble. But anyway, it was really neat to know that. And Sue, how long have you been here? How long have you been with the WRI and the Bear Center?
I started with the website in 2001.
2001. What brought you here?
Bears.
What?
Bears.
Bears? I've never heard that before. Are you sure? What?
Positive.
She is, believe me, she's positive. She just gave me that look. She's very positive. But you know, one of the neatest things I learned, and I know this ain't going down a path that we were talking, but one of the things that I found out, well, there's a few things that I found out, but one of them that I thought was really interesting is the trail a bear makes. And could you describe that to the people out there?
Well, what you're referring to is a bear trail, and bears have this walk that they do. It's a stomp walk, and they do it as they're approaching and leaving major marking trees. I do find the trails some other places, but the majority of them are close to marking trees. And just coincidentally, I was just reviewing some video footage from 2007 of June and her cubs, and of course Lily was one of those cubs. And they were at a big white pine tree, and by watching June's behavior, I could tell that some other bear or bears had been in the area, and she was quite agitated, and she was stomping along a path and marking trees. And she was straddling trees and back rubbing trees. She even bit one. So it was really quite interesting.
So when they stomp, you showed me how every time they'll come through, they'll do it right in that same spot again. Like it's almost like guaranteed to be in that same spot. Is that correct?
Yep. It sure does. Yeah, the big bears will, maybe shorten their stride if they need to, and the smaller ones will lengthen their stride so they're hitting the same spots.
Isn't that just Amazing. When you first seen that or found that out, were you amazed?
Oh, I was fascinated. In fact, that's what hooked me on bears.
You're kidding me.
No, it was, yeah.
The reason why I asked her that question is I remember her telling me when we were out there when I was talking about it with the group we were with, really neat group, that was what hooked her on the bears. And I had to ask her because it still, to me, was a very, very memorable story. And I just, now I think I told you guys earlier when we were with Sue that I always look at telephone poles now. And sometimes I think, well, I know I drive my wife nuts every now and then, but looking at telephone poles all the time kind of is, she's like, you're looking at that telephone pole too? And I'm like, yeah, well, I want to see if there's a bear mark there. And I go up there and I see where the hammer hits it, and they test it with the hammer for its durability or its lasting, right? You said. But I had to ask that question, Judy. I'm sorry. I know you got some questions for her, but I just thought that was so fascinating to know that these bears have a character that's just amazing. That they actually have a moment like you described, like maybe I do when I stop. And from the house to the garage, when I'm getting in a little trouble here and there, I'm gonna make stomp marks. And then maybe I'll rub a tree here and there too, but I doubt it. But I just thought that was so cool, and I really want to thank you for letting me know that sticks in me. So here you go, Judy. I'm sorry.
Well, no, actually, Scott, you're kind of leading right into. She was talking about videos, and she mentioned 2007, and right now it's 2014, so you're going to be 15 pretty quick. So we got a lot of videos that, there's a lot of videos that people maybe haven't seen. Could you really tell us about that a little bit?
Well, most of the videos that people have seen are from 2010 or more recently than that. And the ones here at the Bear Center, a lot of them are prior to 2007. Some of the basic videos, like the feeding videos, the foods and stuff. The play, that's all old video because the Bear Center opened in 2007. So the footage that we used to create those videos was footage shot prior to that. So we have this chunk of videos from 2007 up to 2010 that pretty much hasn't been seen by many people. So that's what I'm in the process of cataloging. And I've got 2 video cameras working. One is playing video so that I can actually catalog the behaviors and the time codes and all this. And the other one is downloading from these old mini DV tapes. So I had only one camera to do it for a while, and it was taking forever, so I commandeered another camera. So it's helping out.
So I'm not a biologist, so this is kind of when you talk about cataloging, just in my mind, I'm thinking, well, okay, maybe by bear, by behavior, by season, whether they have cubs or not. Could you describe really what how many subcategories are there? I'm thinking there could be a wealth of information that the people here at the Bear Center have yet to see.
Well, initially it's the name of the tape, the date, and the time that the behaviors took place. But then I have a block that I just type in a narrative of what I'm seeing, and then later I'll go back and I'll stick in keywords like feeding and then what they're feeding on. So it could be feeding, and what I just cataloged was feeding on aspen catkins. And heads up, there should be a video coming tonight that will show some of that, the aspen catkins. It's those little, and right. Well, you're almost correct, because there's male catkins and there's female catkins, and actually June was feeding on female catkins in this video.
Wait, I gotta ask you this question.
Uh-oh.
I am.
Okay.
I've got fur strips. How do I tell a male catkin from a female catkin?
Well, I was talking about aspen trees.
I mean, aspen
so,
trees. How do I tell a pink lizard? I got a lot of aspen, obviously. You can tell
well,
that?
yeah. The female ones have flowers,
Okay.
and the male ones actually come out first,
Okay.
and the female ones come out later.
Looks like a stamen, and like similar to that.
Yeah.
Rather than it. Okay, got it. I just was really interested because when I hear catkin, I'm not picturing in my head that it's. I didn't know that there was a male and female one of them. And how in the world did the bears know that?
I don't know whether they know male from female catkins, but they know it tastes good.
Wow,
So,
that was amazing.
they do. They eat both.
No kid.
But at different times. They'll eat the males earlier in the spring, the male catkins.
Well, and that's what I think is so amazing about the research, is that you can follow a bear close enough, long enough to figure that out, number one, and get pictures. I mean, pictures, videos, and I think that's what's really, what you're doing, I think, is, well, I mean, who's got videos like that? Where, yeah, I mean, and I think that really is phenomenal, because we're sitting here talking about this, and there's a lot of people that, we didn't know, and I'm sure there's a lot of people, in your field that really haven't got that kind of footage, but we're going to get it here at the Bear Center with your help.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I'm having a really good time going through the footage. I can remember those days. It's not that long ago. My mind is still pretty clear on it. And I can watch the video and actually know, where we were walking at that point in time. So what we're trying to do is to capture all that and get it down before my memory fades.
Sure glad you said that. That's why you surround yourself with good people. I always learn that one, but Sue, that, just like Judy said, I got to tell you that's amazing. I mean, some of the things that you brought to the table are just really, really cool. And I got to ask you, how would you even do this? If you were to guess in footage or hours or minutes or whatever it would be, I know it's going to be really ridiculous to ask you this, but how much blasted material do you think you got?
Well, once we get it cataloged, I'll have a better idea.
Okay.
I mean, are you overwhelmed with it? Is there that much there?
There's hundreds of hours. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah. It was fascinating work, though. I mean, it was fascinating work to actually walk with the bears to get it, and it's really interesting. I never get tired of watching it, so it's a good job for me to catalog it.
And my next question would be what's the longest you ever walked with a bear at one time?
14 hours.
14 hours she walked with a bear. And we're whining about 24 hours of this.
Yeah. We're not out in the woods now. What are we complaining about?
No. She probably had lunch, though. People probably brought her food.
I don't think you left us lunch.
No?
I just we did.
Glass of wine? Anything?
Right here.
No, nothing, huh?
Well, what's that? What did you take out with you?
What'd you take out with you?
Yeah.
When I walk with the bear, I take a cup full of nuts for the bear. And then when the nuts are gone, that's it.
And what does Sue get? A cup full of what?
Sue gets nothing. She gets water.
Water.
Wow, that's a lot of hours of walking and watching. It probably goes by fast because you're so fascinated by it.
It does go by fast. Okay, I'll tell you a little story. The 14-hour walk. What I was doing is I was also collecting the scats, and I think that day there were like 16 of them or something. But they get awful heavy. So what I did is I had a little duffel bag with me, and I stuffed a bunch in the duffel bag, and then when June crossed a road, I tucked it behind a tree so I'd know where to come back and pick it up later, so I didn't have to carry it.
Did you remember where it was?
Oh yes, oh yes.
That's that memory thing again. She remembers where the scat was. That would be about. Do you all know what scat is? Just curious. Anyway, I'm sure you all know, but I guess now I got another maybe dumb question, but it's still a question that I think a person would ask: is what compelled you to collect so much scat?
Well, I mean, scat is bear scat's actually fascinating. I mean, you can learn a lot about bears just by going through their scat. And, if you never see the bear, you still can tell where the bear's been, what type of habitat it's been through, just by looking at what's in the scat and identifying the plants through the seeds that you find or whatever. I find cool things like fawn hooves, and, bird feet or whatever. Yeah, so it can be quite interesting. But when I was in 2004 and 2005, I was walking with bears in a very regimented way, and I was collecting the data on a handheld computer. And that's when I was picking up all the scats. Because at the beginning of the walk, I'd feed the bear 2 marshmallows that were stuffed with pieces of balloon, actually. And those are scat markers because, what goes in has to come out eventually. And so what you can do is you can estimate passage rates and things like that. You have to go through all the scat and look for the scat markers, as well as identifying, what they've eaten.
So Sue is a professional scat collector. She has a freezer full of scat. Well, I don't have much to say about that, but that's pretty cool, I guess. What are you gonna do with it?
Well, maybe I can find some grad student that would like to go through it.
Go through your freezer full of scat. Is there balloons in there?
Yes.
There is. There's balloons in there. Did you hear that? Well, doggone it, this has really been fun. I hope you had fun with this. This is really, really, I've learned a lot. And I bet you guys out there have learned a ton, too, because, listening to Sue, it's amazing. I would have never known that, Sue. Really?
Before we go.
Oh, before we go.
I have to put on these glasses.
Somebody challenged her to put on glass. Oh, those are hip. Hey, those glasses look as good as Sharon's. They do. Do they? They're not that far from Sharon's. They're looking rather groovy. Holy mackerel! Here, let's see if words with that now.
Well, actually, these glasses, I bought them special for doing the videos because they're progressive lenses that I can't quite see the wall back there, but I can see my keyboard and the monitors, so they've been really helpful in doing the job on it.
I thought she was going to say they were for inspecting scat, and that she wanted to look modular, really mod to do that.
They would work very well for scat, actually.
You're serious?
Yes.
Wow. Anyway, we want to say thank you so much for coming here and being part of this, and it's fun. We've really enjoyed being with her. And Judy, what can we say except thank you? Really, we do thank you. And Sue is now a part of us here and is having some fun, and it's going to be fun. We just aren't going to, probably sounds like we're not going to see you much with all the stuff you got to stare at. And if she comes out with this look on her face, we'll know why. But again, we want to remind you that it's Give to the Max Day, and we do need to keep going on our move on the chart here. We've done a great job. Let's just keep it moving and get those numbers up so we can have more chances to get those golden tickets. And tonight at midnight is the $20,000 one. Judy, did you want to add anything?
No, I think, again, I know I've said this before, but it's not over till it's over. And we're going to be here till the end, and that's midnight. And, it could happen at the last hour or two, and it could happen with maybe just a $10 donation even. So it doesn't have to be a huge donation. It just needs to have, we just have to have donations in every hour. We got to have a chance.
Alrighty, we thank you all for watching, and we'll be seeing you in about another 40 minutes, which will be at 4:30. Thank you, and have a great day. Bye now.